First, I'd like to give a special thanks to Paramount Motors for making this video possible. They supplied the car in today's video, and I'm a past customer. They are a very nice dealership, and I've had really good experiences. I highly recommend them if you're in the market for an electric vehicle. They are located just south of downtown Seattle, near the old Rainier Brewery. Hi, this is John with the Evolving World. Today I'm doing a video on a 2014 Chevrolet Volt. This is an electric gas hybrid vehicle. This is a fully loaded model. It has every conceivable option. There's about 4 or 5 option groups, and it has all of them on this particular car. And the color is an ashen gray. This is a new color for 2014, along with brownstone metallic. And the interior is a black leather interior with a white stitching. So this video will be in 4 segments. First, I'll do a walk around, which I'll show you the exterior of the car to show you what it looks like, any kind of details, any kind of stuff on the exterior. And then I'll do an inside, kind of a pan around, and I'll kind of just show you the switches and then operation of the controls and such. And then the third section will be a driving impressions. That's when I'll drive it on the road, tell you how things happen as it happens. Fourth will be charging, and that will be just basically an overview of how it is, the process of charging is, if there's any kind of oddness to it or anything that's plus or minus, and any other kind of details at the end. So one of the first things you might notice is it's kind of a distinctive looking car. I don't think you're going to mistake it for anything else. You know, the show car was really cool looking, and of course the production car doesn't quite live up to that expectation. But I do like the front end styling. I think it's very clean, very classic, very timeless. The rest of the car, not crazy about. It's okay, I guess. It's all pretty much subjective. I mean, if you like to look at the car, then you know. There are many oddities and quirks to this car that I found kind of amusing. One thing that was kind of strange is when I opened the hood, the engine turned on, and then it was on the whole time, despite there being 12 miles of range left on the electric gauge. And then when I closed the hood, the engine turned off. So this is a very unique vehicle. It has it's primarily designed to be an EV, but then it also has a full gas generator engine to back it up to as kind of a range extender. So it has about 149 horsepower, 273 pounds of torque, which is a lot of torque, a lot of power from the electric motor, and then an 83 horsepower, 1.4 liter gas engine as a backup generator. The vehicle does weigh 3,800 pounds, not particularly light, so that does kind of work against it a bit. It has an EPA range of about 38 miles on electric, using a 16.5 kilowatt battery pack. It also has a 9.3 gallon fuel tank, which could get you another 300, maybe 350 miles, depending on what kind of driving you're doing. Perhaps a good idea might be to carry 1 gallon of gasoline in the tank, and you know, when you decide to go on a longer trip, you can always find a gas station, so that way you can just fill it up and then maybe put 9 gallons in if you know you're going to go through it. That way you don't carry 9 gallons of gas around all the time, because you know the whole idea is to go electric, not have that gas backup. It might encourage a good habit. Like the exterior, the interior has its plus and minuses too. There's some interesting features, and there's some kind of cheapness to it as well. It kind of works against it. Kind of just personally, I would get a different interior color. The black looks too bland. I mean, it would be nice to have maybe the two-tone. I've seen some nice brown and black interiors, which kind of have a nice two-tone effect. I think it would look nicer. Doesn't have very much storage space. Only about 10.6 cubic feet of storage space back there. As you can see, it's really not very much. There's a couple little cubby holes to the left and to the right, but nothing below that carpeting there. The seats do fold, but it's a 4-seat car. And when you do sit in the back seat, it's pretty snug. Like, you don't have a whole lot of leg room. I'm not a particularly tall person either. I'm pretty average height. If you're claustrophobic, you probably won't like sitting in the back very much.
that's weird. Tire pressure. Got a little overinflation on the left. It's nice that it tells you that, though. It's nice that it tells you. That's really nice, handy to have the numbers show. So yeah, that's what this is right here. This is a fully loaded model, so it has all the options. This is cruise control, lane departure warning. Speaker control. This controls the this over here. That's the power door locks. Have a different position. Parking brake. That's a USB 12 volt. Shallow. So in order to get the nav system to work, you actually have to turn the radio on. It's kind of strange. And then if you don't want to listen to the radio, you have to mute it. It's kind of odd. There's rear backup camera, which is very helpful in this car because you can't see, there's a lot of blind spots in the back. Okay, so with this car, it has an L mode down here. If you shift, when you're going down a steep hill, you shift it into L, it will reach in more. But if you brake, it will reach in more. So I think it's just two different methods of doing it. You can either shift it into low, and it will be more like one pedal driving, a little bit more, not quite. Probably just leave it in L if you want, if you like that reach in. Otherwise you can just brake the old fashioned way, and that reach ins as well. About 3,800 pounds. So it's not light. You know, it has the motor, it's front wheel drive, has a motor in the front and an engine in the front. So it definitely feels heavy in the front. It's not exactly light and nimble, but it does actually corner when you get on it. And we're actually do pretty decent. So it does have a trailing beam axle, of course. So it's not the most independent suspension in the world, but it seems to ride pretty good though. I'm not really having any. Seems to be a better beam axle. There seems to be variances in beam axles as I drive different cars. This one seems to be one of the better ones. This particular example has about 35,000 miles on it or so. So it's had time to be broken in and everything, so it's a pretty good indication of how the car holds up. So this car has like a lot of different places to show your energy usage. You know, you can have a screen on here. It kind of shows you the graphics back to the battery going into the motor. This would change, of course, as we get kind of low. We're down to 6 miles on the battery. This car has about a 38-mile range or so, but of course that varies depending on how fast you go, how cold the weather is, and if you're going up and down hills. All those things are factors, and how fast you go, of course. So we should be able to get the engine generator to turn on here, and as we get down, I'm not exactly sure what miles it turns on. I guess we'll find out. I'm at 5 miles indicated right now, which is not enough to get back to where we're going to go, but we do have a 3/4 tank of fuel up here, so about 128 miles on gas. So this car has about a 9.3 gallon gas tank. It's about 37 miles per gallon or so, so it's a pretty good range. It's telling me it's 128 mile range, 133 total with the electric. But of course, a car like this, you know, you really want to drive it electric as much as possible. That's kind of the point. But you know, when you need to go on longer trips, then this car, you don't have to worry about range anxiety or anything like that, which is why GM did this car. You know, instead of doing full EV, it's a transitional vehicle to get you onto electric, but not totally into it, just because there isn't charging infrastructure yet, or there isn't, you know, just, I mean, gas pumps are everywhere. Oh, that's interesting. Forward collision alert. That's what happens when a car comes by. Get you in here. It just has forward and rear collision alert. But yeah, if you want to kind of do something towards getting, you know, transitioning to electric, but you don't want to like give up the gas just quite yet, this is a great transitional vehicle. But as of now, I mean, we're in January 2018, so there are more and more charging stations coming out. And in 2017, of course, GM made the Volt EV, which is about a 238 mile range car now. So there are full electric options that are probably, well, certainly more capable than they were back in 2014, as this car was, because things were different back in 2014 as far as electric charging infrastructure and such for fast charging. Sufficiently, and then it will turn off. So if you're like idling, for example, at a light or something, if you wait long enough, the engine does act as a generator. So at some point, if you're not going anywhere and the engine's on, it will charge up the battery and then shut itself off after a certain percentage. With this car, the engine acts as a generator, so it charges up the battery, so it still stays in electric mode. Only if the battery is really low, like it is right now, and if you mash the throttle, then there'll be a little bit of engine to assist the movement of the car as well. But generally, its purpose is to charge up the battery. feel pretty good. I mean, these switches on here are like a little bit funny because some of them are hard buttons and some of them are more like these kind of touch buttons, a little bit different kind of. Oh, actually, oh, interesting. So when I mashed the throttle, it didn't kick in the engine. So actually, we're still on battery. We're still on battery. Now the generator's on. Huh. Yeah, I tell you, you really can't tell. You really can't tell the difference too much. This thing will tell you what's going on though, if the engine's on or if the battery. This is the battery electric motor, and this is the engine right here. Ah, yes, I do hear a vibration now. I feel a little vibration in the steering wheel too. But see, now we're back in, so you turned off the engine already. So it's, yeah, it really does work as a generator. Like, we're going to be going down a steep hill right here, so we'll probably catch a nice regen going down it. This is a good example to put it back in the low. So you don't like have to stomp on the brake pedal or anything. You can kind of modulate it too and put down a little bit of accelerator. Kind of like one pedal driving. You could probably leave it in low all the time, I would think. Yeah, so now we've got some regen power recovery going on. So it really does just kick in only when you need it. It's interesting. There's another little feature right here on the left stalk here. There's like a little pedestrian warning honk. Hear that? It's like a muted horn just so that you don't scare somebody. Because if you use the real horn, that's like that. If you use this one, it's kind of a pedestrian warning horn, I guess. Looks like there's a green light on the dash here. It says charge cord's connected. I assume it's charging. Charge mode intermittently. Doesn't really state what the state of charge is, though. Charge cord connected. Plus for portable charge cord, reduced 8 amps, 12 amps. Yeah, this car has a 3.6 kilowatt charger, so it's not as fast as, say, a 6.6 or something like the Leaf and my Fiat 500e. Some of the cars, electric cars, full battery electric, usually have a little bit faster charger, even though they're still level 2. There's different types of level 2. And this is a slower level 2, so this is probably 3.6 is probably only about maybe 16 amps or so. Whereas 6.6 is like 28. So it says charge cord connected, but it doesn't say anything about whether it's actually charging. I assume it is. So yeah, it just says charge complete by. It doesn't really tell you what the progress of it is. I mean, it's power flow, but there's no percentage or anything. It doesn't tell you how many kilowatts it's putting in. The green light just indicates that it is charging. And I checked the charger outside, and it does say that it is charging. So I can't see any indication as to how much, what the rate is currently at. There's no lights, there's no percent. They have all this information, but they can't figure out how to put the percentage of. Huh. That's a little bit disappointing. That should be mandatory on any kind of car with a plug. You gotta know what the percentage of the battery charge is. Well, anyway, that's my review of a 2014 Chevrolet Volt electric and gas hybrid vehicle. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you did, and many more videos to come. Thanks again.